a Sunday, 2/3 of our waste was coming from buffet. It was really unfortunate.
We need to think differently. We need to think about how do we separate our organics, our recycling, and our solid waste.
Where there was a garbage can by the sink for scraping in food waste, that was now the compostables bin.
Welcome to the Sustainable Region. I'm Vanessa Timmer. Today, we're in the Anvil Centre, New Westminster's new multi-use civic centre. Conferences of up to 500 people can be held here, and that could include meal catering. This connects to today's topic, food scraps, and the new ban that separates food from regular garbage. Metro Vancouver often looks at what's in our garbage. It's not a pretty job. But they've learned that 1/3 of the landfill waste could have been composted. That includes all carbon-based organic materials like food, paper napkins, and chopsticks. Your municipality, along with Metro Vancouver, has now banned food scraps from the regular garbage. And this includes restaurants and apartments. The next two videos are great for sharing online. They're short, and they cover everything you need to know about the new ban. The second video is specifically suited for restaurants. Let's take a look. A change is underway in the way we handle food waste in the Metro Vancouver region.
So the change in 2015 is that we're going to have to separate our organics and our kitchen scraps from our normal garbage. Just as we've done recycling for decades now, so we're going to have to do the same thing with organics.
The Metro Vancouver Regional District has expanded this shift in waste disposal to include businesses, schools, and public facilities across our region.
Everyone's affected by this ban, whether you're at home, at work, or out in the community. We need to think differently. We need to think about how do we separate our organics, our recycling, and our solid waste.
The waste disposal rules have been introduced by Metro Vancouver after consultation with local governments and businesses throughout the region, some of which have already made the switch.
Most single-family homes in this region already have organics pickups. We know that restaurants and businesses and some schools have already embraced this change. And we look upon those leaders to help others as we bring forward this change into Metro Vancouver.
The new rules for food scraps are now in effect. However, Metro Vancouver is hoping to facilitate a smooth transition by giving waste haulers and their customers time to adjust to the new rules.
Although the ban comes in on January 1st, 2015, there will be a 6-month window that we will work with the haulers to identify the organics material that's in their garbage. After the 6-month grace period, enforcement will be phased in to ensure compliance.
Changing the way we handle waste has long-term benefits for our region. It reduces our dependence on landfills, cuts down on greenhouse gas emissions, and creates new opportunities to repurpose organic materials.
Separating out our food waste from our garbage makes sense from so many different perspectives. It allows us to take out that good quality material and create compost with it, or put it into a bioenergy facility so that we can fuel engines. It's something that we should do to protect our environment now and into the future.
For more information on the new food waste rules and useful tips for implementing waste separation strategies, please visit the Metro Vancouver website at metrovancouver.org/foodscraps. Metro Vancouver has banned organic material from the landfill. Operators of restaurants will have to implement changes in their kitchens to comply with the ban. Some operators may build on lessons learned from restaurants that are already taking the zero-waste approach. Under the new ban, restaurants will need to train their staff to collect organic waste separately, whether it is trim from the kitchen or leftover food a customer hasn't eaten. Restaurants will also need to arrange separate pickups for their organic waste. These measures are already in place at Campagnolos on Main Street in Vancouver.
The thing that we did to make it really easy was we just took away all the garbage cans and then only put in exactly what was needed. So as an example, where there was a garbage can by the sink for scraping in food waste, that was now the compostables bin. And then right beside it we had a paper bin, a plastics bin, and that made it very easy for people to understand what to do.
Some commercial kitchens have participated in a Metro Vancouver pilot project using software called LeanPath to track and analyze their organic waste.
We find that we're not ordering as much produce particularly, because that was our biggest waste. We weren't ordering as many fries because we found we were throwing out probably a couple bags a day.
Restaurants that offer buffets face a particular challenge: how to make the buffet look appealingly well stocked without cooking a lot of food that will ultimately be thrown out.
On a Sunday, 2/3 of our waste was coming from buffet. So we were able to trim our production back, knowing and understanding how much we were throwing away.
Ordering less food will help restaurants keep their costs down, proving that keeping organic material out of the landfill is not only good for the environment, it's good for the bottom line too. Welcome back to the show. I'm in the kitchen of the Anvil Center with General Manager Valet Marling. Hi.
Hi.
Today we're talking about food waste. So how is it handled here at the Anvil Center?
At the Anvil Center, the food waste is gathered by the catering staff from all of the events that take place, and it's brought into the kitchen and it's immediately put into compost bins that are stored underneath the prep table. As well, during food preparation time, same thing, the trimmings from a head of cauliflower go immediately into the bin and then out for composting.
It's a great looking building. Can you tell me about its location?
We have a fabulous location at the Anvil Center. We're actually in the immediate center of Metro Vancouver, immediately across the street from the SkyTrain. We're on public transit, and we're a very quick trip off of Highway number 1.
Great. Well, thank you so much for having us here at this venue.
Thank you.
With the new ban on food waste, restaurant operators can plan and implement changes until June. That's when enforcement will begin. Several restaurant groups have started practicing since 2013, and here's what they learned. In 2013 and 14, several Metro Vancouver restaurants tested out separating their food waste for collection for composting. It was part of a pilot project led by their business associations, and the amounts collected were recorded, along with how well it worked or didn't.
This bin is actually quite full today. For them, that's really, really good.
In Langley, Candace led the Aldergrove Business Association's Waste Diversion Project. She convinced 15 businesses to take part, ranging from a large store and warehouse to several mom-and-pop shops.
You know, you never really pay attention to what goes into your garbage until you start to separate it and you see it for yourself. And it's a stinky job. I go through their garbage, but I do it nicely, like, oh, you can separate this to recycling, or this goes into your compost.
For almost 2 months, Candace helped each week to collect and weigh the waste.
Thursday afternoon, I personally go around to about 6 to 7 of the businesses, and then I bring it here and I weigh it.
When food waste composts in a landfill's oxygen-depleted environment, it creates methane, which is a potent greenhouse gas. Candace shared these kinds of facts with businesses, but soon realized that intentions and realities didn't always match.
The business owners, they always want the best practice. I definitely believe it's an employee effort, and it comes down to the employees.
On-the-ground practicalities were also the topic for these business association leaders. Sophie, the Zero Waste Challenge organizer, brought them together to discuss how well their 7 restaurants fared in the food waste collection pilot.
Learn that it's not just necessarily the chef in the kitchen that needs to be trained on how to separate the garbage.
Is that what you were hearing as well?
The restaurant owners and businesses also know, I think intuitively, that hauling is not just the only answer.
AJM and Recycling Alternative provided the collection services during the project. Louise Schwartz runs one of the hauling companies. She's very aware that the materials collected will be returned to the food cycle.
The contamination tolerance is very low on a material stream like organics and food scraps. I think this is going to be one of the challenges for everybody the restaurant owners, the collectors, and as well as how regulation is going to happen in those areas to enforce how we get the food scraps out of the stream.
The weekly food waste collection in this store averaged 1,000 pounds.
Before we used to just toss it in the garbage, but now we separate it, and it's a lot better this way. Once everybody got used to it, pretty easy. So basically anything organic, so like veggies, the meats, cheeses, dairy, dog food, cat food, that kind of stuff. It's basically all food and cardboard and paper towel and so forth.
Even though I provided them with signage, it's still a learning experience for all of the businesses of what you can do. It needs to be functional, quick and easy.
Quick and easy is not the best descriptor for the business's waste hauling contracts.
Some are 5 years, some are 3 years. You can't cancel to go to a new hauler. You have to hit a cancellation window. If you miss it, you roll over until another 5 years or 3 years.
I think a lot of businesses might be waiting for their haulers perhaps to offer them a solution.
They're busy, it's 14 hours a day, they don't want to have to renegotiate contracts. Some businesses are really ready to jump on the bandwagon, and some businesses are going to do it when they're forced to do it.
The BIA leaders recognize, however, that there are waste champions.
We've got a number of new restaurants coming in. Many of them are under 30. They've already bought into the environmental sustainability. Also, they're not already tied into contracts.
We've always composted. We have multiple bins throughout the kitchen that are all for composting. As soon as we start to train new employees, we show them what can go into our recycling bins and compost bins. We're working really hard at getting to the place we want to be able to, reduce our carbon footprint and really be socially and environmentally conscious wherever we can.
Different procedures and equipment can be an advantage.
The cart systems are really good. You can clean them really easily. You can fit more in your facility, and you don't have to have those big ones in your yard anymore.
Most cities in the region now include food waste collection in their residential services.
You're training people already at home, and then it's just got to come to the business.
Those early adopters will have paved a way, I think, for everyone to see, the benefit of this. And then when the easier solutions come along, the big bulk of businesses in the middle will probably pick it up, and we'll see some change then.
Those businesses that are interested in doing it, most of them are already doing it. It's what we probably knew right from the beginning. It needs to be easy and practical.
1, 2, 3, 4, get those food scraps out.
That's what we should call the next program. I love it.
We all love food.
What's not to love?
Until we're done with it.
Hey!
Then food scraps end up in our garbage.
What? Food isn't garbage? Yeah, not garbage!
40% of what we throw away is food, but now food scraps have somewhere better to go.
Put us in your green bin! Yeah, green bin!
Food scraps can be turned into compost, and that's good for everyone.
Yeah!
Put your food scraps in your green bin so they can be composted. Food isn't garbage.
Not garbage.
Signs like these can help your apartment or restaurant keep food scraps separated from your regular garbage. In busy malls and parks, waste collection bins and signs need to be simple. For instance, bins with angled fronts give pedestrians more time to read the signs while approaching, compared to flat-fronted bins that can only be read when standing directly in front. Design tricks like that can help improve the user experience, and that's part of our next story. It's a creative challenge. Take 12 design students, add representatives from 10 municipalities, and you have the ingredients for the first rethink of recycling bins in Metro Vancouver.
We were designated the SkyTrain Context.
5 teams of students presented their ideas in a workshop after 4 months of work. This collaborative event was organized by Metro Vancouver in an effort to come up with a uniform recycling bin design that could be put in place across the region.
The challenge I've been asked to solve is to look at making it easier to recycle in public spaces based on 4 different scenarios of the parkscape, busy intersection, a transit hub, and public events.
Andreas Eichen is a student at Emily Carr University, and this project represents his master's thesis.
What excited me was the diversity of the concepts. One concept looked at the element of fun and sculptural and play. We had another concept that was very modular. The festival concept was very systemic in how it works. And now we get to find the highlights and all the best components from that and take that moving forward.
Louis St. Pierre is Eichen's thesis advisor.
The idea of bringing a live project into the studio is usually really energizing for the students, and it helps them deal with these issues quite seriously and quite directly.
People tend to not recycle outside their home.
My wish is that we would move a lot further, a lot faster, and think about what we waste, rather than thinking about how to clean up after ourselves a little bit more nicely.
The workshop participants recognize that the current system could be better and welcome the brainstorming process.
We've never seen something like this where they bring all the coordinators and all the professionals together before we implement something, so I think it's very refreshing and it could be used in all sorts of ways within the municipal government.
I think this type of process right here, where you get all the municipalities to come together and talk about their issues and allow a third party, like the students here, to come up with a possible solution. If we see that there is a possible solution to this for the region, maybe everybody could move in the same direction.
The next phase of the process saw ICANN developing a prototype based on the feedback from this group. That prototype was tested on campus at the University of British Columbia in another collaboration, this time with students at the Brain and Attention Research Lab, or BAR Lab as it's known, in the Department of Psychology.
Today we have two aims with this project. The one is part of a collaboration that we're doing with Emily Carr University. Right now what we're doing is we're testing out the bins. Our main question at the BAR Lab is in terms of the setting in which the bins are placed. So we have reason to believe that people will be more careful with what they throw out if the surrounding is more beautiful.
The prototypes in the ugly location don't get a lot of use, but there's still more testing to be done. It's a long process involving a wide-ranging collaboration. It's hoped it will result in a final product being recommended to Metro Vancouver sometime in 2015 that could eventually be put into use throughout the region. From the Anvil Centre, that's our show for today. You can learn more online at Metro Vancouver Food Scraps or watch local stories of sustainability. And to see more local videos about sustainability, visit metrovancouvervideos.org. I'm Vanessa Timmer. Thanks for helping make Metro Vancouver the sustainable region.